I'm going to walk through how I use AI systems. Today I'm going to be using just Gemini. Um, I kind of go back and forth. I like to test all of the different AI systems against each other. I'll give them the same prompt and kind of rank them just according to my own intuition. Which ones are more creative? Which ones come up with more interesting? A lot of times you'll see a lot of similarity where two or three of them will come up with exactly the same response or nearly exactly the same response. So ChatGPT has not always been my favorite. As of late, ChatGPT has been my favorite. Just now I logged into Gemini and it had some new features that I have not tried out. So it could be that Gemini may be my new um, favorite, but again, these are using the free versions only. I'm not using ChatGPT today because I already used up all my free time on that one for the moment. So I'm just going to kind of stick with it. I'm going to show you how I do this because I tend to get, according to other people who see what I get um, out of AI, what I get is a little bit better. It's a little bit more diverse. Now, one of the things that I do is I like if okay, let's just start with something basic. Let's say I wanted to write a little bit of a story here. So I'm just going to go into Gemini. I'm going to say write a story, and I'll just give it some basic ideas. So let's say that the story main character is a dog, and we want it to be kind of an interesting um, thing here. So let's just say make it in the style of Aesop's fables. Have the dog interact with three other characters, one of those being the traditional Aesopian fox. Now, Aesopian is not a word. I made that up, but it'll figure that out. Um, so let's say at the end, traditionally Aesop's fables have morals to the story. At the end, explain the moral to the of the story. Um, and let's see. Let's just see what we get. All right. Barnaby, a terrier with a coat of sun-baked clay, was known throughout the meadow for its prodigious nose. It could sniff out a bone from a league away. Blah 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 blah. So I'm not even going to bother reading this. Not right now. Normally I would. I would read through it. Pride blinds. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so the point is to rework it. Now, normally what you would do is you would read through it and you would kind of make some notes about what you want to change, um, but not specific. You're not looking for specific things that you want to change. What you're looking for is a feeling that you want to change. So let's do this up. Let's say add some color and human emotion. Frame the story as a grandfather reading it to his sick grandson. Princess Bride vibes, anybody? Have the grandson confused by the moral of the story after it concludes, and the grandfather lovingly explains. So Barnaby, with his tail dripping between his legs, bubbled his grandson, lay nestled in a mountain of pillows, cheek flushed with fever as usual. But grandfather, Barnaby's nose was good. He could smell things that nobody else could. Why was he wrong to be proud? Elias smiled, gentle crinkle appearing in his eyes. Ah, Thomas, that's the tricky part, isn't it? Barnaby wasn't wrong to appreciate his gift. His nose was indeed special, but he let his pride turn into arrogance, and he thought it was better. He was better than everyone else, that he didn't need patience or wisdom, just his nose. He reached out his warm hand. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so now it's focusing on more. We need to pull So this is really, it's a conversation. We need to pull back. Good. I like to tell it when it's doing good, when it's not doing good. No, it has nothing to do with AIs eventually taking over and trying to be on their good side. It has to do with the fact that I want it to know that I liked the changes that it made. Otherwise, it could interpret that as saying, I didn't like any of what you just did, so just throw it all out. I don't want to do that. We need to pull back on the outer story. Now, again, you just have to assume it's going to understand what you mean. You don't need to use any specific. This is not programming a computer. This is very different. This is all very intuitive. Me being an autistic person, I find that the AI systems are actually more intuitive than I am, which is really interesting. A lot of times I will take, you know, personal correspondence, text messages, social media, and I will run it through an AI and have it explain to me what is not being said. And it's a really interesting thing because it can do that. And it will pick up on things and even emotions that I should feel that I don't realize that I should feel, you know, subtle things, insults, or, or people being proud of me, and I will just completely overlook it when I read those things. But the AI will pick up on it, and it can highlight that and draw it out and explain it to me. So, as an autistic person, I find that extraordinarily useful. And something that, up until AI systems, I use my wife, but she can't be there for everything all the time. So, and especially in a professional environment, it can really help me understand the nuances of what's being said. Okay, we need to pull back on the outer story. The main focus needs to be the fable, with only a very brief interlude at the end, with not at the end, but after the end of that, with the grandfather and sick grandson. Blah 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 blah. It goes back to the thing. Snails. We're gonna be coffee, and then okay. So, a lot of times people will go when I watch videos of people talking about AIs and dealing with AIs, they will do something silly like, okay, now turn it into an action story, and it can do those things, but that's not useful. Really, what you want to do is you want it to handle the subtleties. So we want to amp up some of the human emotion without going overboard. So let's just say, gently make it more emotionally compelling. Add some visual elements. Add a very small number of visual elements for color and context to both the outer and inner story. And that's literally it. You just keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with it. Now, one of the things is if you don't like something that it comes up with, you can't go back. Like if you start following down a certain pathway, it these systems, they tend to remember everything and they cannot tell, which is funny because it's very much like dealing with a person in that way. A lot of times you'll be talking to somebody and then you'll come back, and you'll interact with that person at different points, and when you talk to them in real time, they will jumble up together memories of different points of the conversation and not really be able to clearly tell what happened at what point. And these AI systems are like that as well. It'll come up with something new, and then you'll tell it to go back to, something that you talked about earlier, or to bring that back and forget everything after that. It can't. It'll say it does it, but it won't actually do it. It will, a lot of times you're better off copying um, that part and starting a brand new conversation from scratch. Also, one of the things that I like to do is, I don't do this very often, but occasionally I like to take a response um, from one AI and have another AI look over the results and make modifications or make recommendations. Sometimes I will ask, like I won't actually tell it to rewrite it and make a whole new thing. What I'll do instead is I'll tell it to, if we were going to do this, what would you recommend? But I don't have it actually rewrite anything, and then we can have a conversation about that. And then at the end of that conversation where we're discussing different things, then I'll say, okay, I like this, this, and this. I don't like that. Go ahead and rewrite it now and have it rewrite. Now, one of the things that's very, very important that you need to understand that a lot of people do not do is code windows. These systems are made to export programming code. When you do that, you cannot just copy and paste, especially like on phones and stuff. Copying and pasting certain bits of text, like sometimes it'll have like a little piece of text where it's talking to you, and then it'll do the writing, and then it'll give you like an explanation at the bottom underneath. So what we do is, or like there's a few different things that we can do to control the output and the formatting. So one of the things that we can do here, I'll show you, is you can tell it to output it in a code window. Okay, so take that and output it into a code window in ASCII format. So ASCII is plain text. You can also say plain text format, and watch what happens. It'll put it in this thing. So this is called a code window. So when it's done writing, what you'll find is, and now sometimes the copy is up at the top, sometimes the copy is at the bottom, but there will be a thing here somewhere where you can just copy the whole thing. It's funny, it's not, normally there's like a thing. So you can say, okay, output as text in C# as a string. So this is just for, I'm just doing this for so you can understand here. See, it tells you what the language is, outputs it as text in the thing, and see, you get this copy code, and then you can take that and copy. You just click this and copy it. So now, and this is another thing that's very important, a lot of people don't know you can do. Okay, I don't actually want to output as C# in a string, so I'm going to edit this, which totally ignores that this ever happened. This is one of the things that you can do. And if you don't like something that you did, or if you screwed up in the way that you put in the thing, you can go back. You're not going to be able to put it in down here and have it forget, but you can go above that and do it like this. So, okay. Oh, here's another thing that you can do. There is something called Markdown. Markdown. Export as Markdown in a code window. Markdown is a very important technology. Ah, crap. Yeah, see, it didn't do it. So we're going to wait till it finishes. I'm going to go back and edit it. So, okay, export the story with lots of rich text formatting. Put as Markdown code. So Markdown is code, kind of like HTML, but it's for word processors in a code window for easy copy paste. There we go. Okay, so this actually is HTML. This is not Markdown. A lot of rich text. That's funny. So anyway, Markdown, you can go to a website and like Markdown to Word. So you can do Markdown or you can paste. So, but again, this isn't actually Markdown. This is HTML. I don't know why it's doing this. Let's do a new chat and let's see if I can get create an email explaining why I will not be able to participate in an unnamed corporate event. Use emotional language to express strongly that I feel this is a major violation of corporate responsibility and the only reason I'm doing this is to kind of make it use emphasis and things. And possibly even HR policy. Output in a code window and use Markdown. Boy, it's not doing the Markdown. This is really strange. Add more Markdown formatting for emphasis. There we go. Restructure the email as a letter for a document. Keep it in Markdown. Now, let's see, rework as a blog entry and use more exaggerated formatting. Here we go. Cue dramatic spotlight. Look at this. Okay, so I actually have a plugin in Word that will. So I paste my Markdown in here, and it just keeps it as Markdown. But then I have over here Markdown, and it converts it into Word formatting. So then I copy this, I paste it over here, and boom. Now, what you'll notice is that the formatting is not exactly identical. You can change, but this uses the formatting designs and stuff. So you can do now. It's not like anyway. There's a lot of different things you can do with AI systems. A lot of different things you can do with it. It's really, really extremely powerful, especially when you just need to generate text quickly. It should always be understood that any AI generated text cannot be copyrighted. You cannot use this to write a book. It's illegal, or I don't know about illegal, but you can't. It won't be copyrighted. There's actually a lot of book writing things. So you have to. You can use this to help you organize a book, like with the outline and stuff. But all of the content in the book has to be human generated. It cannot be AI generated. There's like a percentage or something. But anyway, I hope this is useful to somebody.